As we age, much is said about the decline of the body, but few address what truly happens to the soul in our later years. There's an unspoken silence surrounding this, as if acknowledging that the soul doesn't age, doesn't lose vitality, and doesn't adhere to the passage of time is taboo. But the truth is, the soul continues to grow, learn, and seek answers right up until the final moments. Dolores Cannon, a renowned consciousness researcher and past life regressionist, once said that the elderly carry wisdom that transcends this lifetime. To her, the aging body is just the final phase of a much larger, ongoing journey, a journey that doesn't end with old age but shifts into something deeper. If we understood what happens to the soul during these later stages, perhaps society would start to view the elderly with reverence, not pity. There are truths about the soul in old age that few are willing to face. One of these truths is that as the years pass and the body no longer functions as it once did, the soul begins to detach from the illusions that once seemed important. This transition isn't just physical. An inner quiet begins to form, a space where the soul can speak more clearly. Cannon referred to this phase as a vibrational transition, where the soul begins to prepare for something greater, something that comes after this life. At this stage, many older adults experience inexplicable sensations, dreams, and memories. They might sense presences, hear calls, or even see things with their eyes closed. According to Cannon, this is completely natural. It's also an invitation to you to take a moment, reflect, and perhaps join us in this journey of spiritual understanding. Aging, often seen as the slow fading of a candle, is actually more like the moment when the flame retreats inward, shining brighter than before. The mind may slow, but the soul expands. Dreams become clearer, emotions deepen, and once ignored questions begin to make sense. How many older adults have noticed a shift in their perception of the world after a certain age? This isn't a sign of weakness, it's heightened spiritual awareness. The soul is showing that there is more to life than what we can see. This is the hidden truth that society often avoids confronting. The souls of the elderly are more vibrant than ever. Cannon also believed that the oldest souls are those who chose the most challenging paths, experiencing deep transformative journeys that demand emotional resilience and spiritual wisdom. This explains why many elderly individuals quietly carry stories of personal triumphs, even if they don't speak of them. Behind tired eyes may lie a soul that has lived many lives, experienced youth, strength, rebellion, and now views life with calm clarity, knowing that nothing is permanent. According to Cannon, older souls have access to their soul records, which are unlocked when the hustle and bustle of youth fades, giving way to inner listening, a priceless gift. What's more, as the elderly age, the soul begins to remember, not through the brain's memory but through spiritual memory. These are insights, perceptions, and intuitions that arrive unexpectedly. It's no coincidence that many elderly people report memories of past lives during regression sessions. It's part of the soul's preparation, as it uses the time of old age as a portal, a phase when the conscious mind relaxes, desires diminish, and the spiritual realm becomes more accessible. For the elderly, it's common to have premonitions, prophetic dreams, or deep feelings that are often dismissed by society as confusion or fantasy. But in reality, it's the soul trying to communicate. As many seniors age, they often feel a deep, almost instinctive pull to revisit the past. This might manifest as a desire to reconnect with old friends, resolve unfinished matters, ask for forgiveness, or simply understand the meaning behind certain choices. Dolores Cannon, a renowned consciousness researcher, explained that this is not by accident. Rather, it's the soul's way of closing chapters before embarking on the next journey. The soul, aware that it's approaching a threshold, seeks to bring closure to unfinished business, especially within itself. This drive for reconciliation, the urge to revisit old places, and the desire to speak words that have been stuck for decades are all signals from the soul asking for peace. Those who answer this call often find deep relief, as the soul never forgets what still needs resolution. No matter one's age, it's never too late to heal what was left behind. Another often overlooked aspect is the heightened energetic sensitivity that many seniors experience. Dolores Cannon noted that as people age, their ability to perceive subtle shifts in their environment, in people, and even in the intentions of others, becomes more refined. They may sense when something is wrong even without hearing it, feel changes in the emotional atmosphere around them, or avoid certain places without knowing why. This sensitivity isn't random. It's the soul becoming more attuned to the world around it, less dominated by rational thought. and more open to the unseen. Modern life often doesn't leave space to listen to the elderly, where conversations are rushed and time always seems too short. Yet Dolores Cannon considered the elderly to be living archives of spiritual wisdom. They don't need to convince anyone. They simply need to share their stories, offering profound lessons in their quiet words. However, for this wisdom to be fully received, it must be listened to with true attention, not just heard in passing. When a senior speaks from the heart, they allow others to tap into experiences that transcend this life. The soul speaks without haste, without noise, and without vanity. There's also a growing need for silence among the elderly. This is often misunderstood as loneliness or sadness, but in many cases, it's a sacred silence. According to Cannon, as the soul prepares for its next phase, it seeks moments of reflection, not out of discouragement, but out of deep contemplation. Seniors often become more observant, recalling smells, sounds, and moments from decades ago. They gather their life experiences in a very intimate space. This silence isn't empty. It's filled with meaning. It's a time when the soul looks back on its journey and realizes that nothing was in vain. What may seem like isolation to outsiders is often an essential, quiet spiritual preparation. As people age, they experience a shift in their inner world. Dolores Cannon saw this process as one of spiritual humility. As youth fades, so does the ego. The soul, free from societal pressures, learns to accept more, judge less, and understand better. Many seniors report feeling lighter, even while carrying physical limitations, because spiritually, they are detaching from things that no longer serve them. This process isn't easy. It involves loss, introspection, and change. But it also brings a profound sense of peace, a peace that comes not from external circumstances, but from within. Cannon also believed that many seniors are closer to their spiritual mission than ever before. It doesn't matter how many years they've lived or what they've done until then. The mission of the soul can be revealed at any age. Often, the last years of life are the most important, and the soul is more ready than ever to embrace its true calling. As the soul reaches its later years, it often seeks to complete something essential. It could be reconciliation, teaching a grandchild, or making an internal shift that reverberates across generations. These acts, no matter how seemingly small, carry profound meaning. The soul doesn't diminish with age. It grows stronger, clearer, and more connected to a purpose that transcends worldly concerns, appearances, and productivity. Even amidst physical limitations or illness, the soul remains steadfast, sometimes becoming even more active during moments of fragility. Dolores Cannon described this process as a gradual separation of matter and consciousness, a necessary and natural one. The pain seniors sometimes experience may not just be physical. It can be the soul's way of freeing itself from old constraints. Some may feel fear, others relief, but everyone is on a path that's part of a much larger cycle. When we understand this, everything changes. Pain turns into learning, limitations into pauses, and uncertainty into preparation. Seniors aren't failing. They are completing a cycle that began long before their current life, and deserves to be honored with respect and true attention. Cannon also spoke of spiritual guides who are more present as people age. These guides may not be visible, but their presence is felt through comfort, sudden peace, sharp intuitions, or recurring dreams. Many seniors report visitations or the feeling of not being alone, even when no one is physically present. This isn't confusion, it's connection. As the soul becomes less distracted by the noise of the world, it opens up to the signals from the spiritual realm. The boundaries between the seen and unseen world begin to fade, and the elderly person becomes a bridge between the two. A natural desire emerges in many seniors to teach, to leave behind a legacy, to pass on wisdom that cannot be found in books. Dolores Cannon described this as the soul fulfilling its mission of sharing what it has learned. Every elderly person carries an invisible library within themselves, memories, lessons, wisdom, and stories waiting to be shared. When someone listens, something magical happens. The soul of the speaker feels acknowledged, and the soul of the listener grows. Listening to seniors is not just an act of politeness, it's a spiritual opportunity. A lesser discussed truth is that many seniors feel invisible in a society that values youth and speed. When their opinions are ignored and they are no longer consulted, it generates a quiet sadness that is rarely expressed outwardly. While the body ages, the soul remains whole and vibrant, waiting for someone to offer a genuine, heartfelt listening ear. The soul still yearns to express itself, and it's in those moments of true connection that its voice is heard. In her research, Dolores Cannon also emphasized that the final years of life bring a closer proximity to spiritual truth. Aging is like a return to the essence of being. At this stage, individuals start questioning their purpose, reflecting on the life they've lived and wondering what legacy they will leave. These are deep, soulful questions that go beyond worldly concerns. They come from the soul, which is seeking peace and deeper understanding. This is why so many seniors turn to spirituality, searching for answers and peace in their final years. It's not necessarily about religion, but about seeking a deeper meaning that connects what has been lived with what is still unfolding. It's a quest for inner coherence. Those who embrace this search find a serenity that isn't bound by age, health, or external circumstances. It's the peace of someone who is at ease with their soul, even in the face of the natural losses of old age, such as the passing of friends, fluctuating health, and changing routines. The soul remains present. Dolores Cannon described how the soul strengthens during these moments. Each loss becomes a lesson, and each goodbye serves as a reminder that everything in life is fleeting. At the same time, each gesture of love, every heartfelt conversation, and every cherished memory takes on immeasurable value. Small moments become the most significant, because the soul recognizes that what truly remains isn't what's accumulated, but what's genuinely lived. That's why so many seniors, even with limitations, are able to smile, give thanks, and love deeply. They no longer waste time on the superficial. They are connected to what really matters. Cannon also spoke about preparing for departure, not as something to fear, but as a natural stage in the soul's journey. Death, according to her, isn't an end, but a passage. Many seniors intuitively begin to prepare for this transition, organizing documents, expressing wishes, and seeking peace with past conflicts. This isn't morbid. It's wisdom. The soul knows that a new journey awaits and desires to bring everything into harmony, not only in the external world but also within itself. When this preparation is done consciously, fear diminishes, attachments loosen, and a serene acceptance fills the heart. There is a deep confidence that the soul will continue on another plane, unchanged in its quest for growth. Cannon believed that many seniors, even unknowingly, are in their most spiritually productive moments. With maturity comes the reduction of distractions, the quieting of the ego, and the soul has space to express itself more clearly. It's common for those over 70 or 80 to develop stronger intuitions, notice subtle patterns, and perceive life situations with surprising depth. This is not by chance. It's evolution. It's the reflection of a soul that has journeyed through many roads and can now see beyond the surface. Therefore, it is crucial not to silence or underestimate the elderly. They are closer to the essence of life than many younger people. When they are listened to attentively, they can offer insights into questions that others might avoid. Another little discussed truth is that the soul of the elderly still desires to grow. There's never a point where it says, enough is enough. Even when the body slows down, the soul continues seeking learning, connection, and meaning. Cannon affirmed that some of the most profound spiritual transformations occur in the final years of life. As external distractions lessen, there's more space for self-awareness. Seniors begin to reflect on the meaning of life, the impact of their choices, and what truly mattered. These reflections are not merely memories, but processes of healing, integration, and completion. The soul doesn't need much to continue evolving. It only needs to be heard, respected, and given the freedom to express itself. At this stage in life, the soul often yearns for simplicity. Cannon observed that many seniors feel a sense of relief when they let go of objects, routines, and relationships that no longer serve them. This isn't about giving up, it's about clarity. The soul begins to distinguish what is essential from what is noise, and with this comes a kind of freedom only time can provide. Freedom to simply be who you are, without masks, without rush, and without the need to prove anything to anyone. This simplicity is a spiritual achievement. It's when the soul learns to appreciate the small things, a sunset, a meaningful conversation, a warm memory. What once seemed insignificant now becomes monumental, because the perspective has shifted, and everything gains new meaning. In her lectures, Dolores Cannon described the elderly as guardians of spiritual portals, carrying within themselves the keys to insights that only time can unlock. It doesn't matter if they have education, fame, or wealth. What matters is what they hold in their soul, which no one can measure. It's the experiences, pains, joys, lessons, and faith that accumulate into an invisible yet powerful baggage. When an elderly person speaks, it's not just their voice you're hearing. It's the expression of their entire life's journey. It's the collective wisdom of many years, perhaps more than we can fathom. And if we approach with the humility to listen with our hearts, we can access profound truths that no book can offer. The soul teaches through presence, and the presence of someone who has lived extensively carries a force that can only be felt, not explained. Despite the many transformations that old age brings, one of the soul's greatest needs remains love. Not romantic love, but the love reflected in the eyes, the care, and the respect given. Dolores Cannon believed that in life's final phase, what heals most is being seen with dignity, being touched with tenderness, being heard with patience, and being treated as someone who still has much to offer. This nourishment revives the soul and rekindles the desire to live, even if the days are numbered. The soul doesn't need grand gestures, just truth. When it finds this, it can flourish even in barren soil. So never underestimate the power of a loving presence, a dedicated moment, or a word spoken with care. Sometimes that's all the soul needs to continue in peace. For this reason, we must speak of the souls of the elderly with more courage, more respect, and more truth. Dolores Cannon devoted her life to uncovering the mysteries of consciousness. One of her most profound messages is that the soul has no age. It continues, evolves, and prepares for new cycles even when the body begins to say goodbye. If you've made it this far, perhaps you've felt something stir within you. Maybe you've remembered someone who has passed or recognized yourself in some of these truths. Share this video with someone you care about. Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving reflections like this. And above all, never forget that your soul is still growing. And as it grows, you are living what truly matters.